Thank you, Nancy. I appreciate the opportunity today to catch up a little bit on some things in the industry. I want to touch a little bit on being a captive versus independent. And then, of course, what is the best network opportunity should you decide to look for a network to do business with? So on today's agenda, we want to talk a little bit again about that captive versus independent, picking the best network for you, how to find and look for some options. We'll talk a little bit about the express markets and also the risk of making the wrong decisions. So a little bit about captives. Typically, captive agents receive lists and leads from their captive carriers, but also as well, they have fewer products to offer. Also, they receive national advertising that you see on TV. Of course, the ease of conducting business with most captives is that they have a pre-rehearsed administrative process and office set up for you as a roadmap to follow. Also, of course, they provide ongoing training and motivational programs from their sales leaders as well. Also, typically, captive agents work with one insurance company, and usually they pay a little less in commissions than what that captive opportunity offers. Also, then they talk a little bit about the control. So again, the upside or downside of being a captive versus an independent is that a captive often has imposed quotas on production expectations on a monthly basis. Okay, so some upside on the independents. So independent agents offer a more diverse marketplace in that they have a lot of other carriers that are out there that are fighting for introductions to AI, a better, faster, stronger technology environment. So again, that can be an advantage over being a captive agent that is set into one system that makes slower and less often updates, if you will. Also, as an independent agency, you will have the opportunity to offer more products and also a different price. Also, you're going to enjoy a more diversified source of income, such as carriers that often offer different commission structures, buy products, also offer incentive comps, also offer profit sharing and the like. And then, of course, there's a more diverse source of income and offsetting markets. And for example, if you get yourself in a hard time to write property insurance, you could expand more over to the commercial side. And in the commercial side, you would have opportunities to write things such as commercial auto, cyber programs, BOP programs, bonds, and the like. And then, of course, you can again earn the contingencies and the profit sharing as additional income. So as you're out there and you're looking for the opportunity, should I stay or should I go? Should I stay and remain a captive or should I explore the independent world that's available? Know that there are a couple things. You will see 11 questions on this slide. I will try and touch more intimately on every one of them as we dig into the opportunity to show you the difference between networks when it is time for you to choose. So the first question that comes up here is, does the current network that you have today charge you fees? If there's a fee to get in or a fee to get out or a monthly fee, that may be a network that you want to avoid and move on. Also, you're going to want to ask that network how you cap or do you cap commission splits. If there is an opportunity for them to take a split on every piece of new business that you write, new and renewal, again, it's another opportunity. Also, can you get and keep outside appointments? A lot of the carriers that say every policy or every company that you have with them, as it renews under their umbrella, if you're starting a new opportunity, it will renew under them and they will exact those commissions. Does it cost you to exit a program? One of the first questions you want to get in is you want to find out what at the end of the day does it cost you to get out. And then when you do get out, can you take your customers with you, or do they own your customers, or do you have to buy them out as you go? Another question you want to ask is the training support and sales and marketing systems. The other question is the network big enough to negotiate on your behalf in all 50 states, or are they a small regional player that may have one or two opportunities, state opportunities to write business? And then at the end of the day, what kind of perpetuation plan do they have? So after you complete, say, for example, a 20 years in this career, what is the next step when it comes time for you to close that chapter in your life? Do you have adequate products? And again, some networks will offer a few products and a few carriers. Some networks will offer several products and carriers. You want to make sure that you have the best lineup to use in your world. Do you receive agency support with business builders and discounts? Again, typically the larger networks will have that opportunity available to buy stuff through volume discounts. And then can you work or network to help that will help you sell more business? Again, the opportunity that's out there is, do they have the support? Do they have the training? Do they have the product knowledge? And do they have the products to move your agency forward? So again, what we want to talk a little bit about today is we have one network that's out there. It's called the Smart Choice Sponsored Program. And we want to share with you how it may be different and may help you make some decisions on that next logical step should you decide to move forward in the independent world. So let's take a look at these guys. The Smart Choice, for example, brief on the agenda. We'll talk a little bit about the Smart Choice, share with you how you maintain ownership of 100% of your policies from day one. We'll spend a little extra time talking about this optional internal brokerage because truly it's making independent agencies rich today. I will share with you how you can earn up to 100% of all the available commissions. My favorite part of the presentation, of course, is to talk a little bit about how that Smart Choice opportunity is the only true no-fee network or structure doing business today. We'll catch up a little bit on contingencies and bonus. We'll touch a little bit about the perpetuation plan. Ever so slightly, we'll talk about the life and financial piece, and then we'll finish up with some bells and whistles that are offered to the agency owners. Okay. So a little bit on the Smart Choice. Everything that I'm going to cover here with you today has been a conglomeration of the last 16 years of picking up information from independent and captive agencies all over that they came to me and said, hey, Mike, it'd be way cool if I knew this. It'd be pretty interesting if I knew that. And this would have helped me discern, make a better decision moving forward. So everything that I'm going to share with you comes from those slide presentations. Also wanted to update you to let you know that everything that we're covering today is available to you on that www.smartchoiceagents, that's plural.com. So again, a little bit about the Smart Choice. Over 10,800 agents in the United States today. You will be able to sell personal lines in your domiciled state. But using their brokerage system, and we'll talk more about that, you're going to have the ability to write commercial lines in all 50. So again, making the Smart Choice one of the largest and fastest growing agents program of its kind doing business in the country today. So let's dig in. So in this program, there are 3 levels of participation. One, you're going to choose the networks that you want to work with in level number 1. It's called our Agents Program or the Core Program. You're going to be eligible for contingencies, bonus, and profit sharing, and you'll enjoy the max cap on the commissions that you will have with those carriers on an annual basis. That second level, also known as the internal brokerage level, here we're going to introduce you to the big players in the industry on both personal and commercial lines. And when you're comfortable writing business with those carriers, we can request a direct appointment. They will take that premium out of that section or that internal brokerage and move it up to level number 1. And again, the reason that you want to move it to level number 1 is that you will have access to earning contingency and profit sharing in that level. In level number 3, also known as the Express Markets level, here you will work with 30 of the largest MGAs doing business in the country today. But please note, every one of the policies that you write in all 3 levels in this system, you will own access and have complete total and ownership of every policy. But the totally cool thing in the Express Markets level, or this level number 3, is that you will never split a commission with the Smart Choice on any of the carriers that you have in that level. So let's dig in and take a closer look. There are actually 27 reasons why the Smart Choice. I'll cover the top 4 reasons that the agents respond in a survey that we send them out. Here, what you're looking at is the number 1 reason across the country why when captive agents, employee agents, and independent agents, when they're looking for a network, why they choose the Smart Choice over the competition. At the Smart Choice, you will own every policy in your book of business from day one. You maintain all the rights to the expirations, all the rights to the renewals. You own every policy in force. In short, the Smart Choice never takes an ownership position in your agency at any time. Now let's talk about some of the carriers that are out there. Again, in this system with this network, you have over 121 different carriers with over 3,000 products that you can offer. You can see some of them here. What you're going to see is that the Smart Choice will bring you the top rated, nationally ranked A+ carriers in the country doing business today. And again, your ability to either work with Mac or with Windows is a great opportunity with the Smart Choice. Any place that you can get access to a Windows-based system in the world, you can work with your underwriters, you can rate business, you can write business, communicate with your clients, and communicate with the Smart Choice any place in the world. So whether you're in the beach in Puerto Vallarta, in your bedroom slippers, or you're in the public library, when you need access to help a client, all you need is access to a Windows-based system and you're good to go. So now let's talk a little bit about that level number 2 again. We're going to talk a little bit about how this has been so effective with agents being able to place business with the big box carriers in the country. Here in this system, no premium requirements, no commission requirements ever. I'm going to show you the competitive commissions in the next slide, but in this system, when you have a rate or a risk to write, be it a chiropractor, a flower shop, or a hardware store, or a nail salon, in this system, you're going to input 7 very easy questions. Stuff like, who's the name of the owner of the business? What is the name of the business? What is their address? And what is the best time of the day or week to call? When you submit that, we disperse it out to the carriers. You will pick the carriers you want us to send it to, and the actual underwriters from those carriers will reach out to the client. For example, they will say something like, Mike, hey, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity today. Mr. Miller asked us to give you a call to give you a price comparison on your hardware store at 8 o'clock. It's 7:59. Do you have time to talk? They rate it, they write it, they bind it, they sell it, including taking a down payment on a credit card, and issue the policy on the spot. When they issue it, they're going to send you within probably a couple of minutes the actual 62-page policy documentation so that when you have it, you can review it, reach out to the client and say, hey, Mr. Miller, wanted to thank you for being part of our agency. And also, if you're interested, would love to give you a price comparison on your boat, truck, bus, and car. So again, a lot of our agents will use social media to harness the opportunity to write businesses and then cross-line sell personal lines off that system. Now, in this brokerage, however, there's 2 sides of the house. So you can see here the personal line side is diverse and changes with the individual states that are doing carrier option offerings. But what I want to chat with you a little bit about is that commercial lines part of the system. Here, we're going to bring you the big players in the industry. You get carriers like K2. K2 writes used car dealerships from the 5-car used car lot all the way up to the Ford, Jeep, Chevy dealerships. You get the ever coveted Chubb. You're going to pick up Berkshire Guard. AmTrust, we write a ton of restaurants with them in all 50 states. You're going to pick up Liberty Mutual. You're going to get access to Nationwide. Guide One is where we write most of our churches and mosques across the 50 states. You're going to get Hanover's, Travelers, CNA, and the Hartford. But also, if you want to write those 53-footers, so you've got those coast-to-coast guys that are going 6 weeks at a shot, deadheading it from the East Coast to the West Coast. You're going to pick up incredible carriers like Cover Whale, Lloyd's of London, Fairmatic, Knight. You're going to pick up all those big opportunities to write the trucking world. So in that system, just want to share with you that being part of this network, that there's a split that comes off the top. Again, if you can imagine, they're going to rate it, they're going to write it, they're going to bind it, they're going to sell it for you. At the end of the deal, when it renews, you're also going to have, their support getting you annual work comp audits, adding locations, turning in claims, and servicing that business. So just letting you know, they scrape a couple of points off the top before they pay those commissions so that you're comfortable there in that brokerage. Now let's talk about the number 2 reason why the Smart Choice. And again, to take a closer look at what goes on in the industry, networks are pretty comfortable trying to hide what they offer their agencies until they get that contract signed. So there's a couple of things that you ought to do when if you would, discerning a network. One is you want to check with them about splits. And again, there's one example that's out there. I think he's the second largest agency network doing business in the country today. They brag about a 90-10 split on the commissions. But what they don't share with you is all the fees that add up on a monthly basis that almost break your back financially to make that decision. Here's an example from the third largest agency network doing business in the US today. They work on an 80-20 split. So again, in your case scenario, plus fees, of course. So this example shows you that if your agency makes $100,000 a year in commissions, you will take home 80, they'll enjoy 20. When you make $200,000 in commissions, you will take home $160,000, they will take 40. When you make $300,000 in commissions, again, you'll take home $240,000 and they will take 60. And you can see how that adds up on and on and on. And again, it's also does not include the fees as well. The Smart Choice, they work on an 70-30 split with a cap of $20,000 on their core carriers, better known as that level number 1. So again, same case scenario, when you make $100,000, just like their competition, you will take home 80, will enjoy 20. But when you make $200,000 a year, you take home $180,000, we stop at 20. When you make $500,000 a year, you will take home $480,000, and the Smart Choice will tap out at $20,000. And this is the biggest reason why the independent agencies across the country, when they're looking for a network, why they choose Smart Choice over the competition. They will know that the max cap is $20,000 on an annual basis. They then have the ability to spend or invest or plan for social media, internet, office rent, staff, licensed producers, etc. So it's important to know that there's a maximum cap of the split of commissions that a network will take. Now let's talk a little bit about the fees. Again, some of them are pretty good at hiding the fees. For example, the number 2 agency network doing business in the country today has a fee, an entrance fee of up to $12,500. Also, they have monthly maintenance fees that can be up to $550 per month. And then on top of that, they also have participation fees that are $300 per month. And sometimes they forget to share with you when they're in the heat of battle and negotiating that contract that they also have an exit fee where they can extract up to 25% of your agency's annual income when it comes time to sell. And then again, this network also has a 15-year agreement. So if you get started in this thing on a Tuesday and you decide 2 weeks down the road, 2 months down the road, or 2 years down the road that you no longer want to participate, they have a 15-year agreement where you will have agreed to pay that participation fee of, I believe it's $300 per month for the entire span of 15 years. So again, when you add in the entrance fee of $12,000, the monthly fee, which is 15 years times $300 a month for another 180 payments, by the way, 15 years, my goodness, that's like Hotel California. You can check in, you just can't ever leave. So the opportunity that you want with Worldwide or with the Smart Choice, we have 0 entrance fees, 0 maintenance fees, 0 monthly fees, 0 exit fees. And our agreement is a 1-year annual agent renewable agreement. All we ask is if your intent to vacate, that you will let us know 180 days in advance so that we can alert the carriers to say you may be coming to pick up all your policies and move them to another carrier. So again, talking about the fees and being having that in your world to ask the right questions on what that step is. Now, digging into the money a little bit. So again, the opportunity with the Smart Choice is that the agreement says we will pay what the carrier pays minus that split to the cap of 20,000. But they also offer contingency sharing, bonus sharing, and supplemental comp. So let's catch up quickly. Contingency sharing, when you get to 100,000 in base premium, not commissions, 100,000 in base premium, you're entitled to a share of up to 50% of the prorated contingency paid by that carrier that year in your state. Once you get to 250,000 in base premium, you get 75% of the contingency. Bonus sharing works exactly the same way with one kicker. 100,000 in base premium, not commissions, but now there's a loss ratio kicker in there of 60% or better. If you have that, the loss ratio that you can, or the bonus that you can receive is up to 50% on bonus. And again, if you're at 250,000 in base premium, not commissions, you can enjoy up to 75% of the bonus. On the bottom part of this triangle, we work with one company called Travelers, one of the biggest players in the industry, where they work with us on supplemental comp. So if your agency sells over $200,000 in any one given year with the Travelers and you have a 55% loss ratio or better, you're entitled up to 50% of the supplemental comp as well. Okay. So here's actually the sixth reason why the Smart Choice, but I share it to share with you the vast difference between networks that are out there doing business today. So when you come to the end of an illustrious career, 20 years in, and you want to sell your agency, you could put it on the street for $500,000, say, for example, and some of the networks will make you pay up to 30% to sell your agency. So they'll scrape 150,000 off the top in the case that you sell it for 500 and send you home with a handsome check of 350,000. But the Smart Choice, same case scenario, put it on the street for $500,000. The Smart Choice will ask you to give us 15 days to look at your agency, and if we want to buy it, we will pay you up to 10% more than the best written offer. With an incredible opportunity when it comes to sunsetting that career, that you could pick up an extra 200,000 in that case scenario to put in your own checkbook. But wait, there's more. On top of that, to keep with its philosophy of no fees, the Smart Choice buys and sells agencies for its agents for free. So again, you come to your state director and you reach out and say, hey, look, I might be interested in purchasing an agency, and you pick a zip code, you pick a city, you pick a state. As they're interviewing and recruiting agencies, as they find some that may come up for sale, they will make that connection between you and the agency principal. You guys will put on the gloves and negotiate your best deal. But again, when it comes time for you to sell your agency, so that you don't have to go online and pay up to 5 to 10% for a listing broker like Calhoun or Sunbelt that's going to charge you $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 to list and sell your agency, the Smart Choice sells agencies for free with no fees. Also, we have the opportunity to provide you with the legal support so that if you need an asset purchase agreement or a letter of intent to get this part of it done, again, the opportunities to come to the Smart Choice, they'll help you place it. Now to talk a little bit about the life side of the house. At the Smart Choice, you'll get over 74 different carriers to write long-term care, disability income, annuities, and life insurance. You're going to get big players like AIG, Fidelity, ING, Cincinnati, Banner, Genworth, John Hancock. You get the biggest names in the business to support your agency. Now, the fourth reason why the Smart Choice, and I believe I have 4 slides left. The fourth reason why the Smart Choice, unlike most or any network that I'm aware of, is that every carrier that you have prior to the Smart Choice, you will keep away from and apart from the Smart Choice. You will never split a commission. You will never split a contingency or a profit sharing. Moreover, while you are with the Smart Choice, if the 121 different carriers that they have are not enough and you want to reach out and attract another carrier, you can reach out and get them on your own. You will never split a commission. You will never split a profit sharing with us ever. And again, to have a great handle on this, you may want to take a look and ask your current network, because most networks that are out there, if you come to them with, say, for example, $500,000 that you currently have with another carrier, once you roll up under their umbrella, as those policies renew, they renew under their umbrella, and then they start to exact that commission split. At the Smart Choice, you got these carriers on your own, any that you bring on your own, you keep away from and apart from the Smart Choice so that you can build a true independent agency with carriers. Okay, here's that express market level, or level number 3. Let's talk a little bit about that. Of course, you own 100% of every policy that you write through the Smart Choice in all 3 levels. But here, you will earn 100% of the commissions that those carriers pay agency. So no minimum production requirements. You're going to get big players like RPS, Burns and Wilcox, BTIS. You're going to pick up in carriers from them like ACE, Chubb, Chartis, Fireman's Fund, Markel, Scottsdale, Colony. You get all the biggest names in the business, and you never split a commission with the Smart Choice on any of them in the express markets level. Okay, so a couple of slides we'll pick up on is E&O. The one thing, if you discern that you want to move forward with the Smart Choice, we're simply going to ask that you share with us a copy of your certificate of your E&O that shares that you have $1 million in coverage for your property casualty risks that you write. We have a couple of opportunities that we work with. CalSurance is one of them. Hiscox is one of those in that express markets. NAMIC is another opportunity that's out there. But the Smart Choice is very flexible. So if you have a current E&O in place, whether it's Utica, West Point, Texas Nightlife, or Midnight Mutual, as long as you can share with us a certificate that you have an E&O in place for $1 million, we're good to go. Now let's talk a little bit about some inside technology that goes with that. Here you're going to get an opportunity to work with a number of players on the personal line side in our level number 2, also known as that internal brokerage. You will need to have a rater to access that brokerage, and it's only one-time activation payment of $199 and a monthly subscription of $118. But with that, you get 5 licensed seats and you get 5 states. So say, for example, you would take a seat, maybe you'd have your CSR take a seat, maybe you have an agency producer 3 cities away that can take a seat. But say also that you have, for example, let's pick Minnesota. And then if you want to expand to Illinois, if you want to add Nevada, California, Florida, or New York, you're going to have that opportunity to get 5 seats and 5 states for just $118 per month. And then, of course, you would get the carriers that are available in that Smart Start opportunity in those 5 states. By the way, with the ability for a little extra fee to access all 50 if that's where you want to go. Now, the last melon. Let's finish up a little bit with some unlimited continuing ad. For again, totally optional. For just $29.95 per year, you get access to over 212 online courses, over 2,800 hours. You can sit home on Sundays, take your ethics, your senior suitability, your flood, your Medicare, and your life requirements. But the totally cool thing about this company is every time that you take a credit, it automatically updates CIRCON so that every appointment that you have across the entire country is notified that you're up to date on your continuing education. Also, of course, it's going to update your domiciled state as well. Okay, so we started out talking about should I stay or should I go? Also, just wanted to end this thing by sharing a couple of other opportunities. This is information taken across the country, that there's actually 3 reasons why agents seem to fail in our business. The most cited reasons are they fail because they neglect to listen to their clients and bring the best products to cover their needs. So again, as a captive agency, you are limited on the number of carriers that you have and the number of products that you can offer. Being an independent is going to offer you hundreds of companies. And again, the example is Worldwide has 121 companies that writes over 3,000 different products. So you would have that opportunity to sell the best value. Price, quality, make the best value. Also, is their lack of necessary mentorship. Here at the Smart Choice, you have the systems in place. You have a state director that's going to share with your needs to bring you formal marketing and formal sales opportunities to help you take that next best step and stay competitive. Then, of course, they also underestimate the cost of doing business. And at the Smart Choice, again, you are harnessed with a company that has the carriers, that has the technology, that has the ability to help you with lead generation, systems, reading, writing, quoting, and renewing business. So, okay, I think that's it for the webinar today. I appreciate you taking the time to sit in and listen. I would just share with you this, if you're interested, to please find me on LinkedIn. Otherwise, my phone number below, 651-308-7979. And my email address for additional questions is mmiller@smartchoiceagents.com. Again, I appreciate you taking the time to spend a little bit of time with me today, and I look forward to catching up as it allows. Thanks again. Have a great day. Good luck and good selling.